I'm Shayna, and I'm a volunteer at Amara's King County Emergency Sanctuary. I grew up in the greater Seattle area with an extremely loving family and strong support system. So, I joined the Amara family to give back and spread the love and kindness that every child in our community deserves.
Hello, I'm Kate Ginn, the program manager for Help Me Grow Pierce County. When I think of Amara, I think of an innovative, dedicated community partner who works tirelessly day after day to make sure that children and families in our community feel supported.
Hi, my name's Colleen. I'm a foster care specialist and home study writer at Amara, and I do what I do to help families prepare to be the best foster parents they can and be ready for anything that gets thrown at them.
Hi, my name is Michael Beer. I'm the Executive Director of the Tacoma Housing Authority. THA thanks its lucky shoelaces that Amara has come to Pierce County. Amara brings a special mix of clinical excellence and undoubted commitment to children and families and values that fit our diverse community.
Hi, my name is Summer Lane, and I volunteer with Amara in Project Search and Reunion. And I volunteer with them because as an adoptee myself, I know how important it is to have access to your information. And so that's why it's important for me to volunteer with Amara and specifically within Project Search and Reunion.
Hey y'all, Claudia Miller here, Family Engagement Coordinator and Foster Care Liaison for Franklin Pierce Schools. I also have the honor of serving on Amara's Community Leadership Team. I'm invested in the work of Amara and in Kiddos in Care because I believe that all children, regardless of their circumstances, deserve the opportunity to thrive in their homes, in their schools, and in their community.
How incredible were those video messages? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Amara's very first virtual fundraiser. Together, we thrive.
So incredible. Thank you all for joining us in support of children in foster care, families, and our community. We cannot wait to share with you incredible stories, inspiring voices, and some seriously beautiful messages from friends.
Hello, my name is Erin Jones, and I am a 30-year veteran educator, public speaker, advocate, but more importantly, I'm an adoptee, and I'm also an adoptive parent. And with me tonight is my dear friend, Chelsea Talbert.
Thanks, Erin. As Erin says, my name is Chelsea Talbert, and in addition to being the co-host for Together We Thrive, I am an Amara staff member. I am our Pierce County Partnership and Engagement Manager, and also Erin's former student.
So before we jump into the rest of the program, I just need to say one more thing. Thank you so much to each of you who came out tonight. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for caring so deeply about Amara and all the work that has been done throughout the Puget Sound for almost 100 years. We're thankful you've joined us. It's because of you that we continue to make sure that children and families experiencing foster care, adoptees, and birth and adoptive families receive the compassionate and inclusive support and resources they need to grow and thrive.
Exactly, Erin. And that's why the title of our event is Together We Thrive. Because now, probably more than ever in this age of COVID, we realize how connected we are and how truly deeply we need each other. We need to create a world where the inherent strength of all people is valued. We need to transform our child welfare system into a lifelong family well-being system. So we hope you'll sit back tonight, maybe with dinner, cocktail in hand, handcrafted beverage, and spend the next 40 minutes with us, the best 40 minutes of any Friday night of 2020. We guarantee it. And watch us and join us. Watch the amazing families and advocates featured throughout our program as we raise funds and work together to make positive change happen.
Okay, one more note. You don't need to wait for some special moment to give. We'll definitely remind you throughout the night, but you can text right now, Thrive 2020 to 41444. So let me say that again, Thrive 2020. You can text that to the number 41444 or click on the big donate button on the screen at any time during the program and contribute. We also want to make sure that you know that thanks to a special group of Amara friends, We've created a $125,000 match that will double all gifts of $250 or more. This is an exciting chance to give generously to support kids and families, and we hope you'll be inspired to stretch as much as you can tonight. And now, here's a welcome from Amara's amazing interim CEO, Jason Gortney.
Thanks, Erin and Chelsea, and thank you to everyone who is joining us from home this evening. I'm Jason Gortney, and I joined Amara back in February as the Chief Program Officer, and I now serve as Amara's interim CEO. I really want to take a moment to acknowledge just what a privilege it is to step into this role following John Morse, who led Amara for 14 years with just a lot of heart and dedication. So thank you, John, for your tireless devotion to children, adoptees, and families. You know, I came to Amara because I was so inspired by the organization's vision to support child and family well-being. Amara has a strong reputation as an innovator in our field with a real sense of constructive dissatisfaction with the status quo. Willing to identify problems in child welfare and then really bring people together to find new solutions. And I just wanted to be part of that. As we look to the future, we're deeply committed to centering racial equity and the voices of people who have lived the foster care and adoption experience in all of our work and decision-making. We're so proud to be the new host organization for the Washington State Parent Ally Committee and to continue to deepen our work with the community leadership team in Pierce County. These are truly inspiring and incredible people who have direct experience with foster care and are working together to create a different kind of system, one that centers racial equity and supports the healing and well-being of communities and families first and foremost. So these are the reasons I'm really proud to be here, and I'm just so excited to have you with us on this journey. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for being part of the Amara family. And now back to Erin and Chelsea.
Thank you, Jason. Jason has done so much to help lead Amara over the last several months through a pandemic, no less. We know it's been a hard year for everyone, but for children and families who are already experiencing trauma, it's even more challenging.
Amara strives to improve the way that we support the emotional, physical, mental well-being of children in foster care, adoptees, and their families every day, even in the midst of a pandemic. So that looks like, how are we switching to virtual family time? How are we making sure that kids and families are in communication with each other? Starting emails just to make sure that folks are able to say, hey, I'm safe, you're safe, do you have everything that you need to thrive? Our priority has always been, how do we keep families connected?
So true. It's also important to note that foster care, like COVID, does not impact all people and communities equally. In fact, Elise Morrissey, a child welfare advocate whose child was in foster care, wrote about this for the Amara blog. She talked about how although we are all feeling the strain of uncertainty, for families who already experience poverty, who are unhoused, or for Black and Indigenous families who are separated by foster care at higher rates than white families are, this time may be much worse. Let's hear from the absolutely brilliant advocates and parents, Elise Morrissey and Sharonda Sullivanov, and Amara staff member, Trey Rabin, next, who will talk more about this and how we all can help to change things for kids and families right now.
Yes, and afterward, stay tuned because we need all of you as change agents and advocates, and there's a lot more to come.
Hi, I'm Trey Rabin, Associate Director of Kinship and Community Services at Amara, and I'm so glad to be participating in Amara's first ever virtual gala, Together We Thrive. All right, my first panelist here is Sharonda Sullivanov. She is a social services worker with the Washington State Office of Public Defense's Parent Representation Program. And we also have Elise Morrissey, Director of Family Impact at Children's Home Society of Washington. Both of my esteemed panelists also sit on various work groups and committees in the states around child welfare, and they both are parents who experienced and navigated the child welfare system as well. So we know currently COVID-19 has had an impact on families. We know that daycares and schools are closed or moving to virtual. We know a lot of families, if they are still working, are working from home. And so we know a lot of that has just led to a lot more at-home time with our families and some more isolation from the community. Since COVID, we've seen about a 50% drop in the number of kids entering the child welfare system. So Given that context, my first question to you both is, how would you explain the drop in the number of children entering foster care, and what does that tell us about the child welfare system?
Well, I'll go ahead and get us started off, Trey. Thank you for the opportunity to share in this gala. So yeah, I think that the drop in the number of children, particularly you already expressed that the mandated reporters are chiefly school teachers and hospitals. And so of course our children are not in those places. And so those mandated reporters are not having the eyes on these children. I would like to say that, first of all, that when you look at the numbers that people actually call in, I think it was in 2017, 7.5 million calls went into the intake line. Out of that, a little bit over 200,000 of those cases actually met the threshold to need child welfare intervention. So while we have the drop, what I want us to really recognize is the majority of those calls never needed to be made to child welfare anyway. So we don't need to necessarily be alarmed as much as we need to be prepared, and we need to be able to prepare our community members for their ability to be able to be the answers for the families that might need some extra supports. It is very evident that we all need extra supports due to COVID. And so this is a time that we really should be being contributors to our neighbors and supporting them so that we don't have to count on or think about that child welfare needs to be the answer when really our neighbors and our community members are.
I see it as a great opportunity to let's pull out some strengths that families might be experiencing. I read fabulous articles nationally that there could also be more eyes, quote unquote, on children right now. There's more people within the home. And so for me, what's really missing within our system is pulling out families' protective factors, pulling out the resilience in families and the hope. And for me as a parent, having somebody come alongside if I am struggling with paying a bill or I just lost my job, to know that there's people who care about me and my child and is not just trying to come in and separate us and isolate us further. I believe if we have a mindset and equip our mandated reporters with recognizing that removing a child could actually do such significant harm, very traumatic. So what a fabulous opportunity to look at the COVID landscape of, you know, how can private dollars come in to help? How can the government and community come in to help, to really recognize that families have potential and we need to be pulling out strengths in individuals and not thinking the worst, I think is really, really important.
Kind of a follow-up question related to that is kind of, in general, kind of what should the government and community be doing to provide support to families so that they can thrive?
For me, I also think about, let's build on the different principles about having a strengths-based child welfare system that's prevention focused, that is not doing further harm, and instead is equipping families to be the best that they can possibly be. And for me, that starts at day one. That starts prenatally. That starts as an opportunity for a community to come around families and really pour into them and say, like, what is it you need to thrive?
Be the answer. We are the answer, right? We are our neighbors' answers. We are our brothers' answers. We don't have to call a government agency for most cases. I'm not saying for all cases, but for most cases to come in and to intervene into our communities and to rip children outside of their homes and communities and structures that they desperately need to feel okay in their own skin. We want to be able to continue to make a movement towards strengthening our community members, the resources that stand inside of it, the advocates and the leaders that are already there. So I'm a big proponent of we are the community, and the more that we step up and own that and own our solutions, the better off each member is.
I think the one thing that's really striking me is, you know, when COVID and kind of the stay at home and shelter in place started, everyone kept saying, I just can't wait for things to get back to normal. And I'm realizing what is normal. And like we've talked about this, really, I think, you know, COVID has had a lot of negative impacts. I don't want to downplay that, but I think it's given us a time to kind of pause and think about what do we want our new world to look like in general. And I think within child welfare, it's all the things you've talked about. Is it moving to a preventative model, more, you know, strengths-based, and really, you know, using this time to really think about how we're going to move forward as a society and really revamping and thinking about that. So once again, I appreciate you both. Thanks for joining.
Such great information in that conversation and really great news. We have raised over $105,000 already. Yay, team. Thank you so much. Keep giving, keep giving, keep giving. Part of what makes Amara so important in the child welfare landscape is how much work we do to be the change we want to see with kids and families. Amara is not only doing everything we can to support kids in foster care and their families staying connected, but we're also looking at how to address the root causes of kids entering care in the first place.
Yes, exactly, Erin. So Amara is investing in incredible efforts in the community. An example of this is Parent Allies, of which Sharonda and Elise are a part of. They are amazing, as you saw in that video. So Parent Allies is parents who have successfully navigated the dependency process and now serve as mentors to parents who have a child in foster care. So they are peer allies that help during that really difficult time for parents. We also have our baby court program. This is court turned up on its head. This is an innovative model focused on strengths-based. How do we get babies back to their families together and really make court a holistic, positive experience that brings people together? And these programs are working. We are changing the very systems that we work within.
And it's amazing as a community member to be able to watch this in action and to play a small role. I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to introduce our next guest. Amara's Chief Community Officer, Maureen, down in Pierce County, has a lot more to say about all of this. Let's welcome Maureen Sorensen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maureen Sorensen, and I'm the Chief Community Officer at Amara. I'm so glad to be joining you for Amara's first virtual gala. While Amara has been working with children and families impacted by foster care for 100 years, we want to spend the next 100 years focusing on the root issues about how and why children in our community enter foster care at such a high rate, particularly Black and Indigenous children. Amara's desire is to bring community together across the spectrum to support families. Every family at some point needs support. All families have times of need, whether it's the birth of a child, raising a child with special needs, or dealing with substance abuse, mental health issues, domestic violence, or being unhoused. Not knowing where to turn in times of crisis is stressful and can cause significant trauma for children. When parents know where to turn for support without judgment, they build the skills to advocate for themselves because families know best what they need. That's why I'm so heartened and excited by the work we're doing in Pierce County. In 2018, we purchased 29 acres of property here with a vision to bring together resources, partners, and supports for children and families experiencing foster care with the ultimate goal of reducing the number of children entering foster care. We see the potential to ease burdens on families by co-locating critical services that will help prevent family separation and improve lifelong well-being for kids and their families. To imagine all the possibilities, we embarked on a year-long community engagement process that's centered on the expertise of people most impacted by the foster care system. We believe families know best what they need. Along with our partners, we're committed to bringing the community's vision for this property to light. We have a fundamental belief in the power of families, and we have a vision to transform our child welfare system into a family well-being system. And together, I know we can do that. One example of that is already alive and well here in Pierce County, the Safe Babies Court team. I'm so excited about this program, and Amara has been proud to be a strong partner in this important work for infants, toddlers, and their families entering foster care. The Safe Babies Court team is all about minimizing trauma for infants and toddlers and trauma's impact on early development by improving how the courts, child welfare, and child-serving organizations work together to support young children and their parents. It is the only model of its kind on the West Coast, and it is working. Infants are reunited with their families at higher rates and more quickly than those who aren't involved in the program. This program has shown success that's going to grow in other counties across our state. This is the community-based work that Amara loves to do and is known for. In our next 100 years, Amara will continue to invest in children and families with a deep focus on how we come together as a community to prevent the removal of children from their homes. We are committed to working alongside children and their families so they have what they need to thrive. I remain committed to Amara and our mission because of the talented people I work with, the pursuit of excellence, and our commitment to the importance of keeping children with their families. We can do this by building strong relationships and keeping a steadfast commitment to bringing a vision to life where all children and families grow and thrive. Please join us, because together we thrive.
Oh my gosh, Maureen is a powerhouse. The work that we are doing in the community, in our community in Pierce County, is amazing, stunning, excellent, and it has just been pioneering for Amara. And honestly, we could not have done this, as Maureen discussed, without the community leadership team. This team created a vision for 29 acres. That's a lot of acres, people. You can come down and see it in Pierce County. If you'd like to learn more about it or have a tour, we have some amazing tour guides in Pierce County. Check out our website. Go to our Works website. You can learn more at amaraputs.kidsfirst.org.
This is such a great evening. And we've heard some amazing Amara folks, community partners, and parents so far. We just want to remind you that tonight is about giving back too. And you can click donate at any time. Guess what, y'all? There are over 200 people have given, and we've raised over $115,000 tonight. So thank you so much to those of you who have already given. Keep giving. Come on. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Remember that all gifts of $250 or more will be doubled. So please keep the money rolling in. We are so grateful for all of you, for everyone who's been a part of this evening so far.
You know, Erin, each year Amara has two very special awards that we give out to honor people making impacts in our foster care system. And we didn't want to miss out on this opportunity tonight, so we want to highlight our awardees this year, but we decided to do things a little bit differently.
That's right. Tonight we want to celebrate our awardees, and in the coming days, we'll take a deeper dive into the award histories and the stories of our incredible awardees in a special email that will come straight to your inbox. So, Chelsea, who are we honoring this year?
Erin, I'm so glad you asked. We are so excited to share the 2020 recipients of the Stella Mae Carmichael Award. So this award highlights a dedicated and committed foster care family in honor of the incredible service Stella Mae provided to children in foster care. The awardees are, drumroll, Scarlett and August Aldebott Green. In their 2 years as foster parents, they have supported, buckle up for this, 7 kids, and believe that their role is to commit to stabilize, to love, and care for children, especially those with special needs. Wow. We thank you so much, Scarlett and August. And if you cannot tell by now, I am beyond thrilled to share with you about our 2020 Walt Zabriskie Award. The Walt Zabriskie Award, which is named in honor of an incredible past Amara board member who was deeply devoted to children and families. This award is going to, drumroll, the Washington State Parent Ally Committee. So this committee group, as I mentioned earlier, the Parent Allies, these are parents who have successfully navigated the child welfare system and are advocates for keeping families together by reuniting kids with their families. The committee has helped to pass important legislation, seriously, so much legislation, it's incredible. And they are true champions, not just for children, but for families.
Congratulations to Scarlett and August and the Washington State Parent Ally Committee. We're so excited to share more of their stories and about the legacies of Stella Mae Carmichael and Walt Zabriskie in the coming days.
Okay, so now on to the next part of our evening. Our goal at Amara is, of course, stability and well-being for kids and families, and that means we're really focused on helping to reunify. But reunification is not always possible. So what happens when kids exit foster care? Well, the goal is always returning kids home, but we also want to make sure that we're supporting kids when they're transitioning into that extended family. So we are honored to help kids through supporting adoption. Adoption doesn't mean leaving a child's birth family behind, but instead is a chance to solidify the love and support of even more people in a child's life. It's obviously a very special time for parents and kids.
We love this next video so much because their joy is just palpable, and we wanted to be able to share this with all of you. You'll see not just how beautiful this family is, but how deeply dedicated and caring our foster care specialists are. And they don't have an easy job, but moments like these certainly help.
Hi, Tom and Doug. We as a team just wanted to really celebrate with you the adoption of Tevin. I was happy to step in and help Mari out when she was out, but she's really the one that knows you best, so I'm going to pass this off to her.
Thanks, Trisha. Hi, Tom and Doug and Tevin and Camellia. I just want to say congratulations on Tevin's adoption. I'm so excited and happy for your growing family. It's been so wonderful to work with you. And yeah, I'm just so excited for you. And actually, I guess it already happened. So yay. Yay. Rest of the team wanted to tell you congratulations too. Yay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That was so beautiful. I hope it made you feel as good as it made me feel. And guess what? We are at over $120,000. When we watch the joy and happiness that just emanates from that family, it makes me think about why the Amara post-adoption program is so important. So important. They work with adoptees, adoptive families, and birth families in so many ways. I'm well aware of this. As an adoptee and an adoptive parent myself, adoption is a lifetime commitment. But often we seem to treat it as if it's just that exciting celebration on the very first day, done and done, and we know it's not. My dear friend, Angela Tucker, leads Amara's post-adoption program, and she's an adoptee like me and an advocate herself. And she's helped to build an initiative within the program that brings to light the lifetime implications and complexity of adoption.
Yes, our post-adoption program teams and helps navigate the complexities of their adoption stories, whether they are 9 or 95 years old. One of the ways we do this is through this really cool program, Project Search and Reunion. This is an unprecedented project that audits over 3,000 adoption files collected over our 100-year history. That is a lot of files. We do this to ensure that adoptees and birth families receive information and support that they requested. And by information, I mean things about their lives that have been locked in files. These are gifts. These are gifts from a birth parent. These are things that we believe belong to adoptees that have never been shared with them before.
And that's why this next story is so heartwarming and important. And it's why Amara won't stop doing everything we can to develop programs led by those who are most impacted by foster care and adoption. Watch this.
We have over 6,000 files here in this room, and those files are adopted people.
The adoption agency Amara owns this room, but the people here believe the content inside these 6,000 files is no longer theirs to keep.
Within each of these files there's sometimes baby photos of an adoptee that they've never seen before. And we feel that that is an injustice for it to just be sitting here, that we want to get it back to who it belongs. My name is Angela Tucker, and I'm the director of Amara's post-adoption program.
Angela Tucker is behind this unprecedented project.
Okay, I'm going.
And her experiences put this into motion.
When I found my birth parents in the state of Tennessee, I learned within the file things like my birth mother's hair was graying when she gave birth to me. And that little nugget of information helped me understand a lot about her. And that's something that many people wouldn't think is that important for me to know, but for me to know it was crucial. Under Washington state laws, they are never to be seen by the adopted person. So what we can do from Project Search and Reunion is look and review the files and share information from them, but they cannot actually see the file itself. We are taking responsibility not for wrongs or errors, but for the way that social work practices have changed over the years. Hi.
The project's already making life-affirming changes.
I'm loving this. You know, I have the ring, and
you put the ring on a necklace.
Because it's
perfect. It was a little too big.
It was a little too big. So.
At 68, Patty learned her birth father left her a gift for her 16th birthday.
I wear it at least every day, but I don't wear it all the time. To know that they had this there to pass on to me was a connection.
That was tough for a lot of us because it belongs on your neck. It belongs to you, but we had had it for that whole time.
So subtle and yet so vital. You know, what you do. I suppose it's kind of like being born again.
A priceless and timeless gift, even 60 years late.
As an adoptee myself who knows nothing about her birth parents, that story is incredible. Because it's not something that many of you may understand, just the power of getting something from your past. I'm almost 50 years old and know absolutely zero about my parents. If you don't have direct experience with adoption, you may not understand the spectrum of adoptee stories and experiences and what we do and do not have the right to see.
Absolutely. I have learned so much about this from my family, from my grandma Marianne and Auntie Beth, who are watching in Spokane tonight. Hi. But I have learned so much more about this working at Amara. One of the most beautiful things that Amara does is acknowledge how nuanced adoption can be, how it can start from a place of developing relationships between people, being involved, being open, inclusive, and being respectful. Everyone is going to be better off if we approach adoption in that way. And I love how all of our programs, from our foster care program to our post-adoption program, have embraced the hard work of supporting all kinds of relationships.
We all need love and support. Whether you're a parent whose child is in foster care, a child in foster care, an adoptee, an adoptive family, or a birth family, to grow and thrive.
How is everyone? I hope that you're all at home doing a little woo. That's what I'm picturing. We hope you're having a great time, and I want to remind you, while you're doing that woo, grab your phone, send a text Thrive 2020 to 41444 and or click the donate button on your screen. It's that easy.
Okay, so we're at over $135,000 tonight. We're just over halfway to our target goal. So y'all donate. Now is the part of the evening when we get to debut our newest family story. You are all going to fall in love with this Amara family and how they've all grown and learned from each other to be the best they can be to care for their kids. So here's Katie and Caitlin, along with their extended family of kids and parents and so many others in their lives, sharing a little bit of their stories with all of us.
I'm Brooklyn, and I'm 11 years old.
I'm Trinity, and I'm 9 years old. Katie is the safety parent. Katie shares her gum and mints with us, and we kind of ask for it a lot.
Caitlin is the fun parent.
Caitlin is also very kind.
And they both have to agree on one thing before we can do it.
Sometimes Caitlin's like, yeah, let's do it. And then Katie's like, no, you can't do that.
We don't really think of ourselves as their mothers. We think of ourselves as their parents, and calling us mom has not been ever something we kind of thought to require of them. Every once in a while, they'll refer to us as moms, and I think it's mostly because parents is pretty hard to spell. So it's been coming home from school that they'll say, my mom said this. I'm like, oh my God, that's so sweet. And she's like, I couldn't spell parents, it's too hard. So, you know, it's a shorthand that works for them, and it works for us.
Normally, after we have dinner and get ready for bed, we have family story.
First impulse had been to go. Are you guys paying attention?
First impulse had been to go.
Yeah. Caitlin and I met about 10 years ago. I think very quickly after we sort of got the marriage part done, we were thinking about how to have a family.
We weren't sure if we wanted to expand our family or do a straight adoption.
We decided to go with Amara pretty early on in the process, and one of the reasons is that we didn't want the fact that we were two women to be a barrier, and Amara is LGBTQ plus friendly.
We went to the training about an hour south of here. Just driving back, it was like a moment where I could tell that, you know, we had switched all the way from closed adoption, no birth family contact, to I think we just want to be foster parents, even if we never adopt. Like that's our path.
When we started learning about becoming foster parents, one of the things that was very clear was that we wanted to be able to keep a sibling set together. After we were licensed, it was quite quick after that. The girls' file was the first one that we saw, and it just felt like it was a perfect fit for us.
Stella is our little sister, and she likes giving us hugs, like a lot of hugs. And sometimes she asks me or Brookie if like we can hold her, and I always say yes, but she's like getting like heavier and heavier, so sometimes I can't. And I like tickling her.
Brooke, Trinity, and Stella moved in with us, and they're all half-sisters through their father, so they each have different mothers.
Our first dinner together, we met them at the Everett DSHS, got everybody into the car seats, drove to the nearest McDonald's, and I just remember being like, do any of you have food allergies? You know, just starting with the basics, all of the stuff that wasn't in the, that wasn't in any of the files. And Brooke turns to us and goes, so, you two sisters or something? And we had to do, we're just like, oh my God, what did they tell you?
The first night, we were sort of getting everybody ready for bed and situated. Trin turned to her sister and said, Brookie, thank you for being mom when we were living with Daddy. Brooke definitely helped out, just helped us sort of know how to navigate and how to best care for her sisters. And it felt like a lot for an 8-year-old to sort of have to take on responsibility-wise, to sort of be always looking out for her sisters. We were the girls' first non-relative placement. And we began to understand that the birth family might feel incredibly threatened by us and incredibly scared for their children's well-being. And so I think that was a helpful frame to have when first interacting with the birth families. Very early on, it was clear that Stella was on the path to reunification.
Elle was always amazing to us, but the first couple of calls were very fraught. She had just kind of come out of this really tough experience and found out that her daughter was in a potentially adoptive placement. Elle has been a big part of our lives now since she and Stella reunified. We see them a ton.
Stella reunifying actually helped me understand, I think, a little bit more about how to be a foster parent.
Trin's family also is a huge part of our world now. Now we talk to Trin's Aunt Mindy every Sunday. Trin's mom passed away when she was young. She was 17 months.
We went to go see her mom's grave and to allow her to do some mourning around that, and then also to connect her to her mom's family, because we didn't have any stories to share with her. We didn't know what to tell her that her mom liked or didn't like. And so we were really anxious to connect her to her mom's part of the family. We went down and had a meal with the family, and one of the things that was the most shocking, I think, is that several of the people that we were meeting up with, they knew Brooke because they had been taking care of Brooke, and so they were overjoyed to see Brooke again too. And so we sort of had thought, oh, this is Trin's family, this is something we're doing for Trin, not realizing that these were also connections that Brooke had had when she was young. I think that it was just a testament to how important it is to sort of keep and maintain these connections to birth families.
My mom, her name is Ashley. Right now she lives at WCCW.
We called up Brooke's aunt, and the aunt said, oh, Brooke's mom is at Washington's Correction Center for Women, and she would like to be in touch. Is it okay with you if she calls? And we said, of course, here's the number. And so we were able to connect Brooke with her mom within the first 24 hours that she was in our house.
In Urbana, Washington Correction Center for Women.
Have you been touching chickens? Okay, I'll press the buttons for you.
Thank you.
Hello? Hi.
Hi, baby. What are you doing?
Getting filmed.
Ever since that night, she has called every single day since the girls have moved in with us. But her calls are so, so, so important to Brooke, and this is kind of more connection than they've had in years.
She's just a very special girl. Like, I just want her to have a good life, because my life wasn't that great. Her life wasn't very good at the beginning either. I had every intention of trying to keep my rights. And, you know, the more I got to know Katie and Caitlin, the more I realized, like, they were such amazing people, and, like, everything they ever said to me, they kept their word, you know? They were more like sisters to me after our first meeting. Like, I felt like they were family. So I chose to do an open adoption with them just based off my meeting them and talking to them and seeing what kind of people they were. If my daughter can live her best life and I can still be part of it, like, that's all that matters to me.
Becoming foster parents, it's so much more rewarding than it is difficult. But I think that it's important to get yourself set up with a support network. For us, Amara was a huge part of that.
It feels like navigating a lot of the relationships that the girls have with various family members is really complicated, but it's also really worth it.
I've been proud to be involved in foster care in this way.
There we go. I did it.
Not only do we get to have this super rad family and these girls who add a lot of adventure to our lives every day, but it feels like an amazing contribution to get to make to the girls, to their families, and even to kind of our broader community here.
Wow, that was just beautiful.
I'm Brooklyn,
and that was just beautiful. And this is why at Amara, we do the work that we do to watch those relationships. When you donate to Amara, you are not just donating to a nonprofit. You are investing in building relationships, in strengthening relationships, and ultimately investing in our community. And on that note, I would love to introduce you to Lori Langston, our Amara board member extraordinaire and a tremendous advocate for kids in foster care, adoptees, and their families. Lori is going to share a little bit about how she learned about Amara and why she is such a dedicated supporter.
Wow, what an evening it's been so far. Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Langston. I'm an Amara board member and a sanctuary volunteer, and I'm thrilled to see you all here tonight. To be honest, I'd much rather be with you in person, but these are the times we're in, and I'm grateful that you've chosen to spend some of your evening with us. I'm here tonight because I am so passionate about the work Amara does in the community with children, families, and adoptees. And from the moment I attended my first Amara fundraiser and heard the voices and stories of kids and families with whom Amara works, I ripped out my checkbook and donated right away. We have come a long way since checkbooks, though, and tonight you can text to give right now. It was clear to me that Amara is a community of people who believe deeply in just that, the power of community, and our ability to make a difference. I've been involved now for close to 15 years, and I continue to give as much as I can because I have seen the impact firsthand of Amara's work. I've seen children in foster care and their families run to hug each other during a visit and shared in their joy when they've been permanently reunited. I've seen the love exchange between foster parents and the children they care for, even after they're reunited with their birth families. I've watched as adoptees have learned more about their birth families, their history, and even themselves. Amara will celebrate our 100-year anniversary next year. Absolutely tremendous, right? And I'm proud of how Amara continuously evolves as the world shifts and the needs of our families change. Please join me tonight in making sure we continue to walk alongside children, adults, and families impacted by foster care and adoption for another 100 years by giving generously tonight. It cannot be easier. Text to give. Thanks to each and every one of you. We can do this. Together we thrive. Now back to you, Erin and Chelsea.
Thank you so much, Lori, for your incredible service. And thanks to everyone tonight. We have raised $223,000 so far. We are 80% to our goal. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We can do this. We can do this. We will use this money to address the critical needs of kids in foster care, to offer supportive and inclusive support to foster parents, adoptees, adoptive and birth families, as well as families whose children are in foster care. So if you haven't had the chance yet to donate and you'd like to help, here's the last reminder. You can text THRIVE 2020, THRIVE 2020 to 41444 or click the big donate button on your screen. Come on, y'all, let's get to 100%.
That is amazing news, Erin. That is so much money for kids and families. But now I have some bad news. That is the end of our time together. Thank you to each and every one of you. We will continue to listen to our community first and foremost, to those who are most impacted by foster care and adoption, to elevate their voices in every single corner and program of foster care, of family well-being. We will do all we can to walk alongside them and to fill the gaps in services and support, to challenge what we think we know and to make change together. We will create a world that truly values the well-being of all children and to all families. I just want to give you all another big thank you for joining us this evening. This work is so important, and we can't do it without you. So please text, make sure you donate. Don't just donate once, make that a reoccurring donation. Come to our offices, learn more about our work. Oh my gosh, breathtaking news. Buckle up, folks. We are at $244,000. $244,000. That's incredible. Keep donating and make that donation reoccurring. Another big thank you for joining us and for making positive change. If you want to keep making positive change, okay, people. $246,000. Oh, it's going up. It just keeps going up. All right, and I just want to give a real big reminder, make that donation reoccurring, come learn more about our offices, let's close that gap and make it $250,000, and we all know we got a big day coming up in November, so now is a really great time while you have your phone out and you're making a donation to make sure that you are registered to vote at your current address, and maybe set a little reminder on your phone for Tuesday, November 3rd to make sure that you get your ballot in. It's so important. Okay, all right. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it's here. $745,000. Oh, all right, let's keep it coming. Let's keep it coming. We're so close. Get a couple hundred more, a couple hundred there. Are we getting there? I feel like, these programs and this work is so critical. It's amazing. We're doing work up and down the I-5 corridor, and it's not just kids in foster care. It's families, it's adoptees, it's kinship care. It's really bringing everyone together. So I want to know, can I count on you to join us tonight? Can Together We Thrive? Can we make it past $250,000? Okay. All right. Well, we did it. We made it past $250,000. $250,848. Wow, that is amazing. All right. Okay, we're at $283,000. I can't even believe that that's real. All right. Well, we did it. Great work, everybody. Awesome Friday night. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make your donation reoccurring. We had 283 people donate. That was my bad. I apologize for that. We had 283 people donate. We made it over $250,000. I think we should call it a night, Aaron. Great work, everybody. Thank you so much for your support of Amara. Learn more at amaraputs.kidsfirst.org. Thanks, everybody. Together we thrive.